Welcome to A Brief History of the Past. I'm Kaelan and today we're exploring the history of St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated on March 17th in a number of countries around the world. What has become an excuse to drink green beer started off as a feast day in honour of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. You know, I think that all beer should be green. I mean, when you consider how, most beer looks the same coming out as it does going in, I think a pop of green would be refreshing.
Saints and stars.
Patrick was born in Roman-controlled Britain during the 4th century, but was kidnapped at the age of 16 and taken to Ireland to become a slave. He ended up escaping, but then came back in 432 to convert the Irish to Christianity. How did that work? People of Ireland, my name is Patrick, and I bring you Jesus. Oi! I had a slave once who looked a lot like you. No, not me, no. Are you sure? Yeah, no, I've just got one of those faces. Oh, alright. So, Jesus, eh? What's he all about then? It is believed that Patrick's birth name was Maewyn Sacat, but he changed it when he became a priest to Patricius.
So delicious.
Yeah. So anyway, derived from Latin, Patricius.
So delicious.
What the hell is that? It happens every time I say Patricius.
So delicious.
Okay. Derived from Latin, Patrick. Okay. Patrick came from a term that meant father figure. Well, that's boring, isn't it? I mean, Maewyn sounds like it comes from Lord of the Rings. Patrick sounds like it comes from not Lord of the Rings.
That makes sense to me.
Aside from his name, Patrick also had other popular legends about him. One of the most notable is that he supposedly drove all the snakes out of Ireland with a stick. The problem with that is that Ireland's fossil records show no signs of there ever being snakes there. That's a great con. People of Ireland, I've driven all the snakes out of the land and into the sea with this stick. We don't have any snakes here. You're welcome. And if you think that's impressive, let me tell you about the miracles of this Jesus bloke. You like wine? By the time of Patrick's death in 461, he had established Christian monasteries, churches and schools. Eventually, Ireland began to hold annual feasts and religious services to honour Patrick on the date of his death. Why do they always do these saints' feasts on their death, right? Like, what about just like on a Tuesday? And old Jesus, right, he got his on his birthday. Is it so wrong to ask for a little bit of consistency? What about Easter, right? Is that on the Easter Bunny's birth date or his death date? No, wait. No, it can't be on his death date, right? He's still working, right? He's magic, like Santa. Yeah. What? What do you mean the Easter Bunny's not real? Okay, then who leaves me a basket every year filled with chocolate eggs and superhero-themed pants? The first St. Patrick's Day feast was celebrated on March 17, 1631, 12 centuries after the death of old Maewyn Patricius. I don't know what it is, and I don't like it, though it is quite catchy. Anyway, the more modern idea of St. Patrick's Day as a party holiday didn't start until around the 18th century. The celebration fell during Lent, a period of abstinence for members of the church, which gave them a day off, and apparently people went over the top of it, leading the church to eventually need to remind everyone what the holiday stood for by adding the clover to it. All saints had a botanical item associated with them, and since Patrick was considered to have had great luck converting the Irish to Catholicism, the shamrock made sense. There's also a legend that Patrick used the 3-leaf clover to explain the Holy Trinity when he was converting people, which, this is all fine and well, but what I need to know is, when did the Lucky Charms guy come into the picture? What? What do you mean leprechauns were never part of the traditional celebration?
It's not nice to steal gold coins from a leprechaun.
In 1845, Ireland was hit by a potato famine, which I think we can all agree is bad because the potatoes were starving. What's that? What? It was the Irish who were starving due to a mould that spread quickly throughout the country, ruining most of the crop until it ended in 1852. It resulted in 1 million deaths and 1 million more to leave the country and live as refugees? Well, I guess they could have used the luck of the Irish. I would like to apologise to the Irish. It's not your luck that resulted in your misfortunes, right? It was your love of potatoes. I mean, have you never heard of a radish? I would like to apologise for my apology. It was not your love of potatoes that led to the famine, right? It was their choice to live in a country where the climate would only allow potatoes to grow. When Irish immigrants came to America, they was despised. The majority of Americans were Protestants, and they didn't care for the Irish's Catholic beliefs and funny accents. I mean, they do sound ridiculous. In fact, when Irish Americans would publicly celebrate their heritage on March 17th, newspapers would disparage them, calling them violent drunks. Now, see, that is just a horrible stereotype. You know, quite a few of them are very nice drunks. What am I apologising for this time? Eventually, the Irish began to organise and became an important swing vote in politics due to their growing numbers. This shifted March 17th in the eyes of the public. St. Patrick's Day parades became must-attend events for political hopefuls. Yeah, I could just picture it. And why should we vote for you then? Because I love the Irish and all your St. Patrick's Day stuff, you know? The pumpkins. That's Halloween. Also started by us, but with turnips. I knew that. What I meant to say was that I love the 8 nights of gifts and the baskets filled with turkey. You don't know a thing about this celebration, do you? Not a clue. But I heard there was beer. Nowadays, one of the most notable things about St. Patrick's Day is making everything green. But green was not actually the original colour of choice for the holiday. It was blue, the colour featured on the Irish flag and in the royal court. It wasn't until 1798 that green was introduced and became linked with the country and the holiday during the Irish Rebellion against the British. Oh, bollocks. Now we're going to have to talk about this rebellion, aren't we?
Of course!
In the mid-16th century, the English colonised parts of Ireland to gain greater control over it. The English were mainly Protestant, and these Protestant settlers were given land confiscated from the native Irish Catholic population. Catholics were also denied many rights, including serving public office, voting, serving in the military, and purchasing land. Emboldened by the American War for Independence, the Irish rebelled, and during this rebellion, they chose to wear green in opposition to the British who wore red. The colour stuck and became synonymous with Ireland and the St. Patrick's Day celebration. You know, I gotta say, the politics of religion never ceases to amaze me. People of Ireland, we British are superior to you because we believe in God. So do we. Do you? Well, fine, but we have a Bible and it is a primary authority. We got one of those too. And a Pope. Screw your Pope. Oh, don't think that's allowed. Look, just shut up and give us your land, would you? Nowadays, St. Patrick's Day is a holiday of revelry, wearing green, drinking until you black out, worshipping fictitious creatures, and celebrating all things sort of Irish. There you have it, everyone. A brief history of St. Patrick's Day. What are your thoughts on the history of St. Patrick's Day? What sort of history topics would you like to see me cover in future videos? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the future. Aside from his name, Patrick also had other popular legends about him. One of the most notable is that he supposedly drove all the snakes out of Ireland with a stick. Problem with that is that I forgot the line. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a share. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified when more brief history of the past videos go up. Are we done yet? Can I go get a pint now?